CEO of Karen's Body Beautiful. Welcome back to another episode of Karen Says Talk Show. Tonight, my guest is Brigid Turner, an actress, obviously a model, and a director of 8 short films under her belt. But first, I want to give praise to our newest young heroine, Bree Newsome, a 30-year-old filmmaker, musician, and activist. She was arrested after fearlessly and courageously removing that damn Confederate flag that flew over the South Carolina State House grounds. The Confederate flag is an undying symbol of treason, slavery, white supremacy, and racism, period. Now let's take a look at Bree doing the damn thing and taking one for the team.
I know, sir. I'm prepared.
Ma'am, get off the pole. Ma'am, start down off the pole. Ma'am, come down off the pole. Off the pole. Ma'am, look.
You come against me with hatred and oppression and violence. I come against you in the name of God. This flag comes down today.
Get off the pole.
We'd like to.
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? I'm trying to come down, sir. I'm going to comply. I promise you. I'm coming down. I'm prepared to be arrested. But I can't. I said when you're going on like I can't.
Thank you, Bree. We needed that. Somebody needed to do that. I didn't know that someone was actually going to do it, but it was great that you did that. The Confederate flag. Why is this even a conversation?
I was just about to say the same thing. At this stage in life, like, that should be non-existent, but that's the reality of what this world is still about.
Right. Interestingly, it's unfortunate that it took a massacre of some peaceful people in a church, a coward-ass racist, to go in a church to start a race war with the most peaceful set of people that you could find, people in a church doing what people do in churches, praying and whatever people do in churches. And if he really wanted a race war, he really should have took it to the hood or somewhere where people would have fought back. Obviously, that wasn't something that he wanted, and that was a very cowardly thing for him to do. But why? It's unfortunate that it took this for us to even have the conversation. Like the Confederate flag should have been down, been down.
Well, I mean, you don't know where his mind was at. Not that that's an excuse, but there was clearly a reason why he chose to go to that church and do that.
He's a coward.
Exactly.
Because he wouldn't have come to Bed-Stuy, where I live, with those guys who stay across the street from my building with that, you know, that race war foolishness.
Well, sometimes people feel that, you know, church is so peaceful that people are not going to react to that situation. So that is like sneaking in and doing something of evil.
Right.
You know, so that was, you know, probably his game plan.
Okay, well, the flag, hopefully it'll come down. It'll
Yeah.
take, what, 2/3 of their legislative body to do that?
That shouldn't, again, that shouldn't even be a conversation. It should just be done with.
Well, one of the other states, Mississippi, I think, took theirs down. I guess they didn't want the hoopla surrounding what that would look like if they didn't do it. And it seems as though maybe other states, other legislative bodies will just start taking it down. But South Carolina, they're standing firm. So.
I mean, if we're about equality, yes, there's freedom of speech, but at the same time, the gun the gun violence is another level of a discussion. So instead of focusing on the flag, why aren't we talking about the gun violence?
Well, the Second Amendment is where, that whole right comes
Mhm.
from. And it seems as though there's so many people who feel the need to carry guns for whatever reason.
Right.
I think if you really think about it, we know the reasons.
Right.
But they are holding on to that. And I think a lot of those people tend to be racist.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, they think that there's this scary black guy that's, waiting outside of their cabin to, rape their wives and rob them.
I mean, in the
So-
wrong hands, that's what's going to happen, because I'm not going to sit here and say that no one should carry a gun because everyone has their own reasons. But, they're trying to say that you should be evaluated before, but no one's doing that. You get the money, go to a place, it's done illegally, and what do? So someone with the mindset of this young man, those people that said, God bless you and we forgive you, that took a lot. That took a lot for them to say that. And some that, still, I believe someone even brought in a gun in the church. One of the church members had a gun. And Jazz and I were talking about that the other day, that how do you decipher against saying, if you're a spiritual person, you just now brought a gun into church?
I mean, I guess that one person, for whatever reason, was trying to make a point.
Mhm.
I don't know that most of the families or most people who are in that situation would say, you know what, I forgive you.
Right.
And it makes sense for us to bring a gun into church. I think
Right.
those are two different conversations, two different types of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you heard, Obama is now trying to come up with some kind of legislation or something that will unveil Ku Klux Klan members and people of those
Wow.
extreme right racist groups who are affirming their freedom of speech,
Right.
but they keep their hoods on. They don't want you to see them, but
Who
they
they
want
are.
to do mess up things and disgusting things to people and say, spread that hate and vitriol.
Right.
So hopefully that will come to pass. And then in the past week, 6 churches were burned. 6 churches were burned.
It's sad, again, it's this day and age, why are we still going through that? But the world will forever be black and white,
It will.
Mhm.
And Donald Trump is, there's so many things I want to get into. I'm going to stop.
Okay,
Let's
it's
talk
okay,
about
it's okay.
you.
It's
Let's talk
okay.
about For a Dark Girl. Let's talk about your film.
For a dark skin girl.
For a Dark Skin Girl. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's
Yes,
cool.
For a Dark Skin Girl. What is it about? What did you come up with this For a Dark Skin Girl film?
Well, the whole thing, again, it started with that cliche of, you're pretty for a dark skinned girl. And for me, that was something that I grew up hearing. And I still hear that. People think that that's a compliment. And to me, we don't go around telling other races, oh, you're pretty for a Russian girl, or you're pretty for an Asian,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand where they got that from. But clearly, the culture has brought that to where we have to justify what our beauty is.
Right.
And my sister and I, we grew up in school, in the same school, and we were called by our skin complexion, light skin and dark skin, instead of our names. And
Really?
Yeah, because we clearly had the same fathers, but no one thought they thought
she
that
was light skinned.
Yes, and
not was, she is light skinned.
Yes,
Okay.
and so instead of saying our name, they would say, "Oh, the light skin Turner sister." And I'm thinking, wait, we have names. My father names me, and what's the issue with this? But not knowing, because the whole thing of I was teased about my hair, because everyone was relaxing their hair, and my mother did not do that. We went to school with our natural hair, and you got called Brillo Pad, everything, Tar Baby, down to very hateful names. Like back then, that was the bullying. But now we talk about it. But we've been bullying since, I don't know, years ago. And so I decided when I was older, I had a conversation with a man, and he kept saying, you're so nice. You're not angry like most dark-skinned women. And I didn't understand what that meant. And I said, why are we still having this conversation? So I had the story idea for a while, and then so I thank him wherever he is.
The impetus.
Yeah. So he was the one that made me feel like, okay, you know what? I want to tell this story. And it is about love. The whole thing is about, it's a love story. It's a family. The whole idea of where children don't see race, they don't see color, they just know that you're a child, and that hate is taught by adults.
Right.
And I want children and family to be able to sit and watch on a Sunday a show and talk about it, and it be wholesome, not like how reality shows are and so-called cartoons that are for adults, but
Right.
but they say it's for children.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the trailer.
Okay.
Olivia, is that you out there?
I love you too, Jonathan.
No. He's gonna do right. He knows better.
So let's talk about the setting of the film. Why not 2015?
Well, I wanted it to show that it started from back in the days, and the story does go from 1950s until present. It's just the piece that I did was starting in the 1950s.
Okay.
And, you know, that time period for me, that was just that clicked for me to start it then.
Right.
And go ahead.
And so what does an interracial relationship story tell? What is a couple who are in that type of relationship? What story are you telling through their eyes?
Well, it's still hidden, you know, in the 1950s where they had white people dating black people, and it was on the low. And so a black family works for a white family, and the children fall in love together. So without telling too much of the story, the father, he's very adamant about protecting his son against this family and the love, but the bond is so strong between these children that it's inevitable. So they fall in love and they wind up having a baby.
Okay. All right, we're going to stop right there.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a commercial break. So make sure you check out our sponsors. You're watching Karen Says Talk Show. We'll be right back.
My name is Berman Pinellas. I'm asking for your support for my next short film, Privilege. Privilege is a short film that reflects the epidemic of police brutality in communities of color. The audience witnesses the effects of such an encounter when it strikes an affluent African-American family who, despite their accomplishments and achievements, realize they could still fall victim to the violent world which they thought they were far removed from. This unjust American epidemic of killing unarmed people of color by law enforcement seems to have no end. The media chooses to focus on the few bad seeds rather than the millions that protest and rally for fairness and change on this matter. My team and I have been blessed to have worked with major brands and agencies, and our experience spans over 15 years. We have produced hundreds of commercials, music videos, and branded content. My previous short film, Lana, was well received in festivals and screenings nationwide. We were fortunate enough to win the jury selection of excellence at the South Dakota Film Festival and the Audience Choice Award at IndieWorks. This is a project that we are deeply passionate about, and even more so believe that it needs to be seen. Our main goal is to be the voice for those who are often portrayed as villains through society's stereotypes, when in contrast, they are really the victims. Privilege is more than just a movie. It's a movement that my team, myself, and millions around the world are part of. We realize that not only Black lives matter, but all lives matter. You can be a part of this movement. We are aiming to raise $20,000 to make this film, and we humbly ask for your support. Whether it's spreading the word via social media or you give whatever you can, we appreciate it.
So what are some plans and goals you have for the film? What are you working on, and where are you going with where you're at right now?
Well, right now we are touring with For Dark Skin Girl. We will be in Atlanta in 2 weeks, and this will be screening, which was the pilot for the film in different states. I have 2 more states to go to, and the goal is to raise enough awareness and funds to film a season in the fall in New Orleans.
Oh, okay. So this is not just a film. It
will be a series.
Okay, right. I saw that, and I guess because I had a film in my head, I was like, what do you call it? I was just focused on a film. I forgot, I didn't pay attention to the fact that it's a series, so there will be multiple episodes.
Right. It started off as a short, which I filmed in Long Island. So when I filmed the pilot, which was the pilot for the series, it was kind of hard for me. People kept asking, well, where's the rest of it? So I decided to just say it was a film
Right.
because it's a short. So I labeled it as a short. And that was also so I can get into the short film circuit in festivals.
Okay.
Because the pilot
Okay.
world is different from the film for
Right,
television.
right.
And so after this, it will go into series.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what do you need to complete your film, your series?
At least $75,000.
Okay.
At least.
Have you started your fundraising process?
No, after we hit 2 more states, fundraising will start around September. For 2 months, we'll fundraise, most likely on Indiegogo.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And what else are you working on? What's next?
Oh, there's a lot. This summer, I'll be doing summer film screenings, and that will be in Brooklyn at this new restaurant called BK9. And it will be filmmakers, actors, producers, everyone that works in the film arena, they'll be able to showcase their film. So I'll do that for 6 weeks. And then from there, I'm in post-production for a film that I filmed in Chicago called Just Another Summer. So I'm in
Okay.
post-production for that.
Okay.
And then
And that's your film.
That's my film that I directed and
Okay.
wrote and produced. Yes.
Nice.
So, and then for next year, I'm working on a documentary, which is it will be my first. It's about a domestic violence survivor who I went to school with. It's this one is going to be very touching because it'll be / reenactment.
Mhm.
So I have to go to Texas and then Chicago to film it. So that'll be done next year.
Mhm.
And then my pet one, which I've always wanted to do, is a documentary on a homeless woman.
Okay.
So that's in the works as well. So it's a
Damn,
lot going
Brigid.
on. I know. It's a
No,
lot.
that's good. That's good.
It's
A lot going on is better than
Mhm.
nothing, right? Crickets.
I know. Busy is good.
Busy is
Busy
great.
is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what's the other film you're working on that's in Chicago?
Just Another
Just Another
Summer.
Summer. What's that about?
That's a comedy.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
about college kids and an adult going back to college, and he's mingling with these students, and their interaction is kind of like fatherly but brotherly at the same time.
Okay.
So it's a short. It's a long short, but there's actually a feature to it. So if someone is interested, it can be made into a feature film.
Okay. A short is how long of a?
You can go up to 50 minutes.
Okay.
So
15 or
50,
50?
50.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what inspired you to make that film? That
You-
short.
right. I just wanted to hit different genres, to be able to say, okay, I'm not just a dramatic filmmaker, and Damon Williams, he's a comedian out there.
Mhm.
He was, at all jokes aside. So I remember for years, he was saying, when are you going to write a film? When are you going to write a film so I can be in it? And then I had the idea and I said, you know what? I got the film now. So are you going to be in it? And he said, yeah. And again, it was just showcasing different genres that I could hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your film about this homeless woman, that's very touching. It's very, what made you come up with that storyline?
So I don't want to give away too much about it.
Okay.
It is written already, but I'm not even in pre-production for that.
Okay.
So, but it will take place in New York. And I just feel like my mother's a strong woman, and yes, we focus on women, but there's certain aspects of women that we forget, especially when you see a strong, powerful woman, you forget that she has a sensitive side to her because she doesn't show that because of a child. Sometimes you have to, like my mom worked 2-3 jobs and she never broke down in front of us.
Right.
So this is about, touching that area, but I will tell you that a man helps her.
Okay.
And I wanted to not have a woman help because that's always the case. So I wanted a man to help her. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You got a lot of ideas bubbling under all that hair, Brigid. So what made you say, I am Brigid Turner and I'm going to do this? Like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. I'm going to make a film about this, make a film about that, because that's what I'm inspired to do. What made you?
That was God, because I grew up just knowing I was going to be a nurse like my mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I got introduced to the arts in college. Terry Whit Bailey, I'll never forget. She was the one that opened my eyes to everything. And that's when I started working with children. And from there, it just catapulted into film because I was modeling, and then I got an opportunity to be in Spider-Man 3 as a model.
Mm-hmm.
And just paying attention to what crew was doing, because I didn't want to just be known as background, because I saw how they treated background actors. And also people kept saying I was a distraction.
Because you're so beautiful.
Yeah, it was like I wasn't getting.
You're like,
no.
yeah.
Well, no. Okay, yeah, thank you. But I'm saying it felt like, okay, well, you can be what can you be attractive for? Do you need to be unattractive? Like, there was always a situation where my hair was a problem. They put it back. If I had makeup on, they take it off. So I felt like, I'm not supposed to be in the background. And I had an opportunity to assist this filmmaker and a video director. And that's what switched it for me.
Okay.
But again, they were always men, you know, and I wanted to have a female mentor. That was my goal, to have a female mentor, but there was no one reaching out to say, oh, this is what you do and stuff. So I learned on my own a lot, and, you know, reading books and stuff. So that's what it was. I know that God led me on the path that I'm at, and it's working. You know, I'm still developing and honing my craft about who I am and what I need to do. And it's only going to get better, because my goal is to surround myself with people who have done it and are successful with it.
Okay. And what advice would you give to a budding filmmaker about how she can get started, how she can stay focused, how she could actually make her dreams come true?
Just do it. You know, a lot of people talk. You know,
Talk is cheap.
Yeah. And at least attempting and completing, because after you complete that, someone will be able to say, you know what, this is how you can tweak this to make it better. But I feel like when people say they're going to do something, they listen to other people saying, oh, well, maybe stay in your lane. That's not what you're supposed to do. Or you didn't go to school for it. That, a lot of people have asked me, and I know I have not I've gone to school for it. So people look at me funny for that. And I said, God has given me a talent, and I'm going to use it.
Right. I hear that a lot too. People are like, who taught you how to make lotion? I'm like, I know how to read.
Right.
I know how to write. I have the desire. I'm driven.
Right.
I'm going to make it happen.
And people assume as well that because when you model, you don't have I have a degree, you know? And that was the one thing that was important to me when I went away to school. I said, can no one take away my degree? Not to say that college makes you, because the library is free. The internet, you know? So knowledge is what is important in all areas.
Right. Where'd you go to college?
Chicago State University.
Okay. All right. I went to UVA.
Okay.
Very far apart. I thought I might know you, someone you know. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Brigid, for spending time with us and sharing about your film and your inspirations. I'm looking forward to seeing For a Dark Skinned Girl.
Thank you.
I was going to say one more thing. Anyway, next week, I'm sorry. I was going to say one more thing to you. Next week, we're doing our Beauty Bubble episode featuring me, Natasha Gaspard, Laurie Daniel Favors, and our guest host, Sakina Kennard. Make sure you tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for our live Afterglow at 7:30 Eastern. Call us at 800-628-2210 with your comments or questions. And as always, I want to shout out the woman who's standing in front of me, but you can't see her, executive producer, Natasha Gaspard, founder and executive producer of Main Moves TV. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you. Thank you. If you enjoyed tonight's show, please tell a friend to tell a friend. Give this video a thumbs up, comment, and share. We'll see you next week.